And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special interlude from an individual widely revered and admired by both peers and rivals in the Indian food service universe. Tonight, he presents a wonderful little talk, Lessons from a Story of Personal Resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so privileged to be welcoming onto the stage Mr. Niren Chaudhary, Global President, KFC Yum Restaurants. Please do welcome him with a warm round of applause. Thank you.
All right, good evening. It's always fantastic to be here as part of this forum. Always special to come to Mumbai and speak to all of you. So I've been with Yum Brands for over 20 years, 23 years, 10 years in Europe and 10 years in India. I'm now the global president for KFC, based out of Dallas. Look after about 6,000 stores in over 50 countries. But tonight I want to talk to you about a different story. I want to talk to you about my own journey and my story of my daughter, who you can see on the slides here. My daughter Niren Chaudhary, who you see on the screens in front of you. And this story is one of resilience, a story of personal resilience. And for me, I think the importance of resilience perhaps is captured best by something that Winston Churchill once said. And he said that success is never final. So all of you who are sitting out here who are really successful, I have news for you. Success is never final. Equally, failure is never fatal. But what truly matters is that you get up every time that you fall down, that you get up every single time that you fall down. And that's the story of resilience that I want to share with you over the next 20 odd minutes. My daughter Niren. Niren was 18 years old when she passed away on the 24th of January 2015. 5 in the morning, it was Saturday, I still recall. And as she breathed her last, as you may well imagine for any parent who loses a child, I don't think there's anything that can be more painful than the loss of a child. Niren died due to an illness called pulmonary fibrosis, which is a hardening of the lung. And what happens is that your lungs get progressively harder and harder and harder, till you can't breathe anymore and you just die. Now what's incredible about Niren's story is not that she died, but that she lived. And Niren, when she was 13 years old, knew that she had only 5 years to live. So think about that, a 13-year-old girl who couldn't even quite comprehend what death is, knows that she has no more than 5 years to live. And then in those 5 years, she lived her life so well. And I feel that she lit up the skies and she achieved more in her 18 years than many of us achieve in a lifetime. In those 18 years, Niren became a very popular speaker on TED and Inc. Talks. She has 2 talks on YouTube that have over 1 million hits. She also became the author of a best-selling book called My Little Epiphanies that I have here, which has sold over 15,000 copies. So she achieved more in those short 18 years than many of us achieve in a lifetime. And I want to share what was it that made Aisha so resilient? How was she able to get up every time that life dealt another severe blow to Aisha? And she is clearly my biggest inspiration. And the one lesson that I've learned from her, which is more important than any of the others that I have learned from her, is that she used to say, you can't help what cards life deals you. You are where you are. There's nothing you can do. But what you can do is make the most of what you have by jumping as high as you can and being the very best that you can be at every single day, every single thing that you do, making every single day magical and every single day count in your life and however much time you might have. So Aisha, this is a self-portrait of hers, and you can't probably see that very clearly. And on her face, Aisha wrote the following words, which probably capture her attitude and her resilience better than anything I can say. And she says on her painting and her self-portrait that we are here to laugh at the odds and live life so well that death will tremble to take us. We are here to laugh at the odds and live life so well that death will tremble to take us. And death indeed trembled when it came to take my daughter Aisha, because the way in which she lived her life for the time that she had in this world. So Aisha, before she passed away, wrote this book, like I mentioned, My Little Epiphanies. And I'm going to use some of her epiphanies to share her remarkable story with all of you. And she writes in a book that the fact that I'm sitting here and writing these words is a miracle. I would not have been here on this earth for more than a year had destiny not changed its mind. So this is a picture of Aisha outside the Great Ormond Street Hospital in London. So many years ago, way back then, about 22 years back when we had Aisha, she was born with severe combined immune deficiency, which means that you're born without an immune system. So she was a baby that was born without an immune system, which means that your life expectancy is less than a year because you're not able to fight any of the normal infections that one has to deal with. So she had a life expectancy of only 1 year. And it was indeed a miracle that we were able to take Aisha to the Great Ormond Street Hospital in the UK. I was living in India at that time, very limited means, middle class background, didn't have enough financial means. It was a miracle that we were able to take her there. It was a miracle that we were able to raise 250,000 pounds in a week's time in a country where Aisha was not born, a country that was not her home and not her own. It is a miracle that her story touched the hearts of so many people in a different country and who donated so generously to save the life of my daughter. It was a miracle that in the UK we were not able to find a donor, but the doctors were able to use my bone marrow and harvest it and use that to save Aisha. It was indeed a miracle that she survived. It was a miracle that she had 18 incredible years. It was a miracle that we had Aisha in our lives. I think this is probably the biggest and the most important lesson on resilience that I learned from Aisha. It's very simple. She used to say that pick the highest mountain to climb on and the dullest of the days to shine on. Just when everything around you seems to be crumbling and things are not going well, that is the time when you redefine what success looks like. You pick a new higher mountain and you pick the dullest of the days when you're really feeling down and out to shine on. And that's what life is about. And that's what Aisha did. She always focused on what she could do and not on what was happening to her. which was perhaps the biggest lesson of courage that I take from my daughter, Aisha. So let me share with you a couple of stories that bring that to life. So she's 13 years old, she's at home. I just get the devastating news that she has only 5 years to live and there is no cure for her, and that we just have to prepare for her to die. That even though she had the bone marrow transplant, which was successful, but the chemotherapy during the transplant had damaged her lungs, and now she had pulmonary fibrosis, which meant that she was going to die in 5 years. Absolutely devastated. Around that time, Inc. Talks called me up, and they said, we want you to give a speech on Inc., which is like a TED platform on inspirational leaders. Well, I said, the only leader who truly inspires me is my daughter, but I don't think I can speak about her because I'll get too emotional. And they said, why don't you have Aisha speak? Now, Aisha is 13 years old. Aisha was also very diminutive for her age because of her illness and was very, very shy. So I remember I called up Aisha and I said, Aisha, would you like to speak at Inc. or TED? And she said to me, is this the one which Bhaiya really likes? Now, as you know that, when you have an older brother, then what the Bhaiya likes is very, very cool. So I said, yes, this is what Ishan really likes, my son. And she said, well, then I must seriously consider it. I said, Aisha, you'll have to speak in front of about 200-300 people. She says, Dad, are you crazy? I can't speak to more than 3 people. I'm so shy. And she said, I don't think I can, and therefore I must. I don't think I can, and therefore I must. And that was her attitude of picking the highest mountain to climb on and the dullest of the days to shine on. And then, like in true Aisha spirit, she sits down, she writes down her presentation on life, and then she rehearses and rehearses and rehearses and rehearses and rehearses some more in front of the mirror. She videotapes herself and she does many dry runs till she feels she's absolutely ready. And then in a dry run she goes, and the first time she's speaking in front of a group like this, I'm very nervous, like a nervous father. I'm sitting right in front there, and I'm hoping that this turns out to be a good memory for her. And she's absolutely flawless. After she finished speaking, people stand up and give her a standing ovation. Now, Aisha was 13 years old. She had no idea what a standing ovation was. So she started walking off stage. I said, Aisha, where are you going? She said, well, I think people are bored and they want to leave. I said, no, they love what you said, so acknowledge it. So that's when she realized the importance of the impact that she had on the people that she spoke with. So let me share with you a short clip of one of her speeches from Inc. That Aisha gave when she was 13 or 14 years old.
So as we now know, there's always something in life to sing about, something to be grateful for. I'm grateful for my loving family, my friends, my dogs. In fact, I'm even grateful for the challenges that life has thrown at me, for which I've experienced life with a much greater intensity than I would have otherwise. And I do believe that my soul would have no rainbow if my eyes had no tears. Thank you for listening.
So I can tell you Aisha is here and she'll be very pissed if you don't applaud. She was very sensitive about things like that. So my soul would have had no rainbow, had my eyes no tears. This is a 14-year-old girl speaking to an audience for the first time with remarkable poise. And here she got a standing ovation, and this time she was ready for it, she was expecting it. And she was quite pleased. Pulmonary fibrosis is a very, very cruel disease. And as the years progressed, she became weaker and weaker, and now she was wheelchair bound. She could no longer walk. She was on a wheelchair. And she couldn't even complete school. She used to get very, very tired. And so as things changed around her, she picked another mountain to climb on and the dullest of days to shine on. And she said to my wife, she says, Mom, I really can't do this school full-time business, but I have to go there, but I want to do something that I truly love. I want to do maths, and I want to do art. Now, Aisha had never painted in her life, but she said, there's something magical about art, the fact that I can express myself on a canvas of paper with these brilliant colors, and I can express myself in a way that I think is truly unique. Therefore, I really want to become an exceptional artist. Pick the highest mountain to climb on and the dullest of days to shine on. This is this girl now, she's about 14 and a half. She's in a wheelchair. She can't walk, but she's determined to become a great artist because she focuses on what she can do and not on what is happening to her. So have a look at a collection of some of her paintings that Aisha did in the span of about a year.
First things first, I'm the realest. Drop this and let the whole world feel it. Let 'em feel it. And I'm still in the murder business. I can hold it down like I'm giving lessons in physics. Right. You should want a bad bitch like this. Drop it low and pick it up just like this. Yeah. You should want a bad bitch like this. Drop it low and pick it up just like this. Yeah. You should want a bad bitch like this. Drop it low and pick it up just like this. Yeah. Drop it low and pick it up just like this. Drop it low and pick it up just like this. Yeah. You should want a bad bitch like this.
What do you think? Come on, come on. I thought she was remarkable. I mean, just look at this. This is a child who's like, never painted in her life, and I thought this was exceptional. You may have also noticed that her favorite subject was, her dogs. She used to love her dogs. We have a lab and a pug called Kobe and Rolo, and she used to just adore them. And therefore, it's a subject of a lot of her paintings. And then this, of course, this painting is that of my wife. Her name is Aditi, and she is even more stunning in real life. No, I'm just making sure that if you ever run into her, you'll tell her that I said this. So when Aisha drew my wife, I said to Aisha, Aisha, you're drawing Kobe the Labrador, Rolo the pug, you're drawing your mother, what about your father? She said, Dad, I'm sorry, but I only paint beautiful things. Now, the fact that some of you are laughing here, I think probably means that you agree with Aisha. But she was always like that, sassy as hell, a lot of spunk, a lot of attitude, which I loved. And she loved to always put me in my place, which I so terribly miss. And then now, Aisha's disease is progressing even more. And now she is not only wheelchair bound, she's also on full-time oxygen. So imagine she's about 16 years old, she's on a wheelchair, and she's got oxygen 24/7. She can't move around without oxygen in her face. And I get a call again from Inc. and they say, Aisha she is the queen of ink. She's so incredible and people remember her. We want her to come back and speak one more time at Inc. I said, she cannot, she is very, very sick. They said, no, why don't you ask her? Because we feel that Aisha just might. So I went to Aisha and she's lying in bed, inhaling oxygen. And I said to her, Aisha, Inc. wants you to speak again. So she laughed very weakly and she said, what do you mean? Just look at me. I've lost a lot of my weight and my looks, she said. And she said, how do you expect me to speak? I said, it doesn't matter. You're still incredible and you must go there and do it if you want to. She said, I will do it, but only on one condition, she said. I said, here we go again. Pick the highest mountain to climb on and the dullest of the days to shine on. And she said, I will do it on the condition that I speak without oxygen. I said, Aisha, how can you do that? That is like if I were to ask all of you right now to just hold your breath. Just hold your breath for a second and try and speak at the same time. It's impossible. So she was dependent on oxygen all the time. And here she said, the only way I will agree to speak is if I do it without oxygen. And I said, why? She said, because I don't want people to see this person on a wheelchair, small, thin, coming up with an oxygen tank. They can't really see the real me. They only see the manifestations of my sickness. And I don't want pity. What I want is respect. So if you're okay with that, I'm willing to speak, otherwise I don't want to speak. I said, okay, fair enough. So there again, Aisha goes in true Aisha style, picking the next highest mountain to climb on. She said, you know, like athletes, they train. I'm going to train my body to be less dependent on oxygen. So she gets on to the treadmill at home and she starts walking on it, taking off the oxygen, walking some more, taking it off, etc. And then she starts to practice speaking for 30 seconds without oxygen, back, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, till she's able to do a full 10 minutes, which is the length of her speech at Inc. Determined, committed, resilient, and always trying to be the very best that she could be, no matter what the situation was around her. So have a look at the next Inc. speech that she gave. Ironically, she spoke about happiness and how happy she was despite the fact that she was in a wheelchair on full-time oxygen. If you notice carefully in this speech, you will see that now she gets tired very easily and she's therefore sitting down, her nostrils are flaring and she's running out of breath. But she was flawless and she once again got a standing ovation. So have a look at this speech.
So happiness is an attitude. Happiness is doing what you truly love. And I feel that happiness can only come from acceptance. I accept who I am. And I accept where I'm at. And I accept the challenges that I'm battling with today. And I'm even more determined to make the most of this wonderful gift of life that God has given me. As Anderson once said, enjoy life. There's plenty of time to be dead.
And she said, Anderson said that enjoy life. Enjoy life. There's plenty of time to be dead. And again, she got a standing ovation. So she was clearly the star in our family. If anyone wanted to learn anything about how to do public speaking, she was the go-to person. So I remember I went to Hawaii at a company convention, very important for me. And I was speaking in front of a lot of the senior executives, the board members, and so on. So I called up Aisha, and I said, Aisha, please give me some tips. She was in India. She said, Dad, you're asking me for some tips? I said, yes. She says, you don't want to know. You say you want to know, but you don't want to know. I said, no, seriously. I do want to know. She says, no, you want me to tell you how good you are. But you don't want to know. I said, no, I want to know. Please tell me. She said, okay, if you really want to know, why do you have to be so dramatic in every time that you speak, and you have to gesticulate and emphasize every single word? Why can't you be a little more natural? She said to me. I thought that was great advice. So I go up on stage and I tell my wife that I'm not going to try too hard when I speak. I'm going to be more natural when I speak to everybody. So see if you can tell the difference. So I went and spoke. I felt that I was a little more natural. After I finished speaking, I thought it was not bad. So I called her up and I said, Aisha, thank you for that tip. That was brilliant. You know, I tried to be more natural and more myself. And she said, did you get a standing ovation? I said, no. Then she said, you suck. You suck. So don't get ahead of yourself. Well, the disease progressed even more, and now Aisha was completely bedridden. She couldn't even sit on the wheelchair. And we knew that the end is near. We knew that she had maybe 6 months to live. She was lying in bed. Mind was razor sharp, as strong as it ever was, but her body was giving away. All her friends had gone off to their respective lives. She was rather, her cousins, her friends, and everybody was busy with their own lives. And here she was just lying in bed and just watching television serials with her mum, Friends, Breaking Bad, and watching all the Shah Rukh movies, much to my disgust, because both my wife and my daughter love Shah Rukh Khan, and I don't like competition. So she said to my wife that, listen, I'm really sick and tired of these serials. How long? It's like completely mindless. What am I supposed to do? Just lie here and die? Wait to die? So my wife said, well, you could read. She said, all the books are useless. She said, no, there is this particular book that you might like. It's by Hugh Panther. I don't know how many of you have read this book, called Notes to Myself. Anybody read the book? Don't read it, it's not very good. So we gave her that book, Notes to Myself. It's a bestseller. So she read it and in typical Aisha style, chucked it and said, it's crap. I don't know how he sold 1 million copies. I can do better than this. I can write better than Hugh Panther. So we said to her indulgently, okay, go ahead and write it. Pick the highest mountain to climb on. And here she was again. She was maybe months away from dying, but she wanted to make the most of the time that she had and live every day to the fullest and make every single moment magical. So she said, I'm going to write this book. And before I knew it, she had 5,000 words written on her iPhone. She'd be lying in bed and just typing away her epiphanies. And this was the book that she wrote in the last 3 months before she passed away. And almost with a strange coincidence, the day that she died, 6 hours before that, a knock on the door, and Bloomsbury comes home with the first printed edition of her book. Wanted to make it to Aisha before she passes away. I take the book to her bedside, and she's too weak. Her eyes are closed. She can't even open her eyes. I run her fingers on the title of this book called My Little Epiphanies. And the title is, like Braille. It's embossed. So she could feel the fact that it was My Little Epiphanies. And she gave a weak smile. And I think she knew that her job was done and that her time had come. And I want to share with you an interview that she gave just about 4 or 5 days before she passed away about the book. You will see now that she has become visibly weaker. She's lying in bed. She's unable to speak. But the spirit is very, very strong. Have a look.
And what is the message you want to tell the world?
I think basically everyone's just fighting their own battles together, and we're all on a roller coaster ride. And mine's been going particularly down this year, and I've felt so stuck, and so writing this book has really uplifted me, and so I wanted my readers to find peace on whatever roller coaster ride they may be on. So I hope that's what will happen.
Thank you, Aisha.
Thank you.
I think 4 or 5 days after this interview, my daughter passed away. But I do feel that she's left this lasting legacy. And the reason I love going to various places in the world to talk about her is because I want to bring Aisha back to life in your hearts with her story of gratitude, to be grateful for what we have, of courage, to focus on what we have control over and not spend so much time worrying about things that we don't have control over, and one of optimism and hope and of embracing this incredible gift of life that all of us have. So what I want you to do right now is just indulge me. I know it's a bit late in the evening and maybe you haven't had enough alcohol. But even so, just close your eyes and take a deep breath with me. Take a deep breath and just think about all the people that you love in your lives. Your friends, your family, the people that you care about. And let's make a resolution right here, right now, to hug them even closer, to love them even stronger, and to tell them how much they mean to you, because the time is now. The time is now. So let's resolve to really cherish the moments that we have with the people that we truly, truly love. Because as they say, life flashes in the blink of an eyelid. And I think sometimes we just forget to just stop, take a breath, and just live. Thank you for doing that. Open your eyes and, oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think Aisha would have said, don't get carried away, it's because you're talking about me. So it's got nothing to do with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I think, as you can imagine as a father, and I think so many of you have children, no children, and I think we all know the joys of parenthood and how our instinct is to preserve and to protect, and we never want to lose our children before we die. So when that happens to you, you're crushed. I was devastated. I was destroyed. I was like flat down on the ground. I had never been so broken. And as I looked for answers, I found the answer in Aisha's book. And this is what she wrote. In Aisha's book, she writes that if you can't change your own life, there's always someone else's. And I think Aisha had the wisdom to know that the true essence of happiness lies in giving to other people. It's not about yourself. It's about other people. And if you can't change your own life, there are so many lives around you that you can impact and that you can change. And at least for me, that's where my healing has come, and that's where I'm trying to find my own purpose. In fact, Aisha was so particular about this. You see her painting on the right and her book on the left. She refused to ever sign her name, you know, like Picasso did, or any author on a book. And I asked her once, Aisha, why don't you sign your painting? She said, I think it's dumb. Now, I don't know if you follow teenage vocabulary, but I get quite confused. Because when they say sick, it means good. But when she said dumb, she did mean dumb, I think. Because she said, why should you sign your own work? Because it's not about you, it's about the other people. It's what people see in what you have done. It's what people see in the painting that you've made, the book that you've written. It's the mirror to themselves, and it's not about you. You're just a medium. It's for other people. And I think that has given me purpose in life. That has given me something to hold on to make the difference in the lives of those around us. And I just want to share with you, these are two children that you know, me and my wife support. The one on the right is Dhruv. He's got cerebral palsy, and Neha on the left, she also had fibrosis of the lung. She also unfortunately passed away. And we were trying to help their families make their lives just a little bit easier. And at least I found, I don't know about you, I found it more powerful to know a Neha and to know where she lives, what her parents do, what her story is, and be personally involved than just write a check. I feel it is somehow more healing and more meaningful if you're able to find a real person, a real story, connect with the family, connect with the person, and make a difference in their lives in the way in which you can. And that, I think, is the purpose that my wife and I have embraced. To look for people whose lives we can impact. And then finally, Aisha writes, she says, well, all this is well and good, but let's not forget, we have this incredible gift of life, all of us. We are so fortunate to be here tonight. We are so fortunate to be able to breathe. We are so fortunate to be alive. We are so fortunate to have the people around us who love us so much. So let's just take a moment and appreciate that. And as we do that, let's aim for the moon. Let's still strive for greatness. Let's aim for the best that we can be. But as we do that, we know that there will be darkness along the way. And that's life. But as we walk in the darkness together, let's not fail to catch the glittering stars along the way. Let's not forget to stop and enjoy life. Live it every single moment, every single day, by making it the very best that it can be. This wonderful gift that God has given all of us. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. So, my personal email ID, if you want to connect with me and you want to be involved in projects to help people, I'm working on supporting the gene therapy at the Great Ormond Street Hospital in the UK, so that more Aishas don't have to die. And I'm doing some other work. If you want to connect with me, please do that. Aisha Chaudhary's speeches and talks are on YouTube. So if you just enter Aisha Chaudhary Inc. Talks, you'll get her 2 talks that have over 1 million hits. And then her book, My Little Epiphanies, is available on Amazon. I'd really appreciate it if you felt somewhat connected with what I had to share, that you buy the book, talk about the book, and write some reviews, because to me, I feel that that's how I can keep Aisha alive, is by making sure that I light Aisha's courage, optimism, and hope in your hearts. So thank you for that. Yeah. So I think it's time to have some fun after that rather intense conversation. This is on. Can you hear the guitar? I can't hear it. Can you hear it? Okay, so we'll just have some fun. I've been told we have time constraints, so I should limit my songs to no more than 2. Now, obviously, the organizers know me very well, because once I start singing, I have to be dragged off stage. Because, the opportunity to sing is getting rarer and more infrequent. So, I'll do one Hollywood and one Bollywood song. How's that? I can do with a little more enthusiastic response. All right. Okay. Today is gonna be the day when they go and throw it back to you. Right now, you should have realized, but there's nothing that I've got to do. I don't believe in anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat
The word is on the street, but the fire in your heart is out. I know you should have loved before, but you never really had a doubt. I don't believe in anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads that lead us there are winding, and all the lights that lead us there are blinding. There are many things that I'd like to say to you, but I don't know how. And I say maybe got to be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my wonderwall. Why don't you clap with me, baby? Got to be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my wonderwall. Thank you. That's song number one. Song number two. All right, I'll do a, what do you think, Hindi, Bollywood or Hollywood? After that deafening response. Okay, Bollywood, okay. Okay, I'll dedicate this song to a bunch of friends who are here. Can I hear you, please? From Yum Brands. So, I love you guys very much, and this song is dedicated to you. And also my niece who's here. Gitika, are you here? You're there, okay. Arey yaaro, dosti badi haseen hai, ye na ho to kya phir bolo ye zindagi hai, koi to ho razdar, begaras tera ho yaar. Koi to ho razda. Thank you. Arey yaaro, mohabbat hi to bandagi hai, ye na ho to kya phir bolo ye zindagi hai, koi to dilbar ho yaar, begaras tera ho yaar, koi to dilbar ho yaar. Sing with me. Teri har ek burai pe डांटे वो तो गम की हो धूप तो छाया बने तेरा वो दोस्त, नाचे भी वो तेरी खुशी में. Sing with me. अरे तो बड़ी हसीन है ये ना हो क्या, बोलो ये जिंदगी है, कोई तो हो राज़दार, बेगरज तेरा हो यार, कोई तो हो राज़दार. One last time, sing with me. 1, 2, 3. अरे यारो दोस्ती बड़ी हसीन है ये ना हो तो क्या फिर, बोलो ये जिंदगी है, कोई तो दिलबर हो यार, बेगरज तेरा हो यार, कोई तो दिलबर हो यार. Thank you. Don't go. One more. No, I'm sorry.
We definitely would have loved you to stay, but we have to go through this. Thank you so much, Niren. That was fantastic. Absolutely beautiful, astonishing story. One big round of applause for Niren and for Aisha. God bless her soul.